good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever. I'm not really intending for this to be long, but who knows, we'll see how it goes. So, I was a wee bit pissed off there with the YouTube fuckery, and I'll show you why in a wee minute. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing any of this, but you know, obviously you get an influx of trolls who are walloping comments into the comment sections. Now, I don't really pay much attention to the comments, but I have been recently, again, because, you know, I've had my break from it. And what I realised again is that when I'm putting comments in response to some of these morons, these globe cult zealots, when I refresh the page and I go back, my comments are gone. So, I don't know how that works, to be honest with you. I'm not a techie guy. It's certainly not me that's deleting the comments. So how can these people have access? Who's deciding what comments of mine remain and who's deciding what don't? I think that's a wee bit bothersome. And it's getting to the point now where I think, you know, maybe the best option is just to switch off comments completely so that these morons can't come in and try and sway people with their gibberish. Right? Because that's all they have, total and utter gibberish. So I'll show you that in a wee minute, you know, but first and foremost what I want to talk about, because I went to one of these cretins' channels. There's a cretin continually on my channel called Overweight Aviator, who thinks he's a smart ass and has a real lack of understanding basics, right, particularly when it comes to things like sextants and any kind of basic understanding of everyday living. And he's cheered on by people like Wolfie 6020 and the likes of that. So I thought, well, come on here for a wee minute and give them another wee arse spanking, because I think they like the red hand on their buttock, right? Because that's what they require. They're like children, petulant, idiotic little children who are hell bent on spreading their stupid to as many people as they can possibly infect. As I've said before, they are predators. They are targeting the weak and the vulnerable. Those who are easily influenced, right? They will never come and try and target somebody like myself because they know they're going to get a spanking. So these creepy cretins are predator type minds who are hoping to influence gullibles. So whether or not they really have this lack of basic understanding or whether they're just liars is up to you to figure out. Okay, so first and foremost, let's have a wee chat quickly about Horizon. And anybody that's been involved in this, you hear a lot of mantras going about, and one of the mantras again that's annoyed me is the Horizon's always at eye level. So let's understand what we mean when we're talking about with Horizon being at eye level. Because as I say, I went onto this dipshit's channel, and the first video that I see there is Horizon visible below eye level, verified with aircraft data. This is part of their sophistry. Okay, so when we talk about, you know, the Horizon being at eye level, we're talking about that apparent place where the ground and the sky appear to meet each other, right? So when we use optical devices, viewing instruments, and we're looking at that, what you need to understand is this: you are always above the plane. The floor that you stand upon, you are always above it. Okay? So, when we're looking at the picture frame, we'll just take this as your picture frame, your field of view, okay? And you're looking outwards, maybe, you know, we'll put a road here, or whatever, and it appears to converge, right? Now when you're looking at this, you're always above the floor, okay? So if we then introduce some viewing device with a crosshair in it. So we have the crosshair, right, which is always in the centre of the picture frame, you know. But if you're perfectly levelled and you're looking outwards and you have this centre point here, right, the floor that you are always above will always be below the horizontal axis. Always. Every time. It's very, very simple to understand this. You are above the floor. So the floor can never sit on, nor can it cross the centre of the horizontal axis. If the floor was to cross over the horizontal axis, so the floor's now above the horizontal axis here, two things would be happening. You're either looking downwards at the floor, so you're no levelled, or you're looking into a hill in front of you, floor that's rising up in front of you. That's the only way that the floor will ever be on or above the horizontal axis, the central horizontal axis of your viewing device, whether that be your eyes, your camera, your theodolite, your aircraft, whatever it may be. So let me just show you what I'm talking about on this clown's video, then we'll have a look at the obvious glaring flaws of what you would actually see if you lived on a globe. So, horizon visible below eye level, verified with data, craft, and all that rubbish stuff. So this is what I'm talking about. These morons think that because the floor is beneath the central horizontal axis of the viewing device, that means the Earth's a globe. Right? How retarded can you get? Really? I mean, they just have no understanding of basics. They're not interested, these people. They're so mentally distorted and retarded. There's just no reasoning with them, right? But hey ho, this is for anybody that's interested benefit. The floor will always be beneath this point. If the floor is on it or above it, it means you are either tilted downwards looking at the floor, or the floor in front of you is a hill, a gradient which is rising above your height. Now, what altitude are they showing here? Where is it? We got an altitude on here. No, I can't see one. Let's go back here so that we can point out the bloody obvious. Okay, now as I was stating the other night, talking to some other globe moron, they'll try and tell you that your horizon's 3 point whatever miles away from you. Okay, so let's look first and foremost. It hurts your brain because it's so fucking retarded. First and foremost, when we're talking about when we're going to view out into the field of view, well, any instrument we're using, whether it be you or your camera or whatever, we make sure it's level. Level means perpendicular to the plane beneath you. Okay, so you're a parallel to the plane beneath you. Okay, now as we look out like that on the plane, right, because of human perspective, we understand that the floor appears to rise up into the centre of our field of view. But as I said before, the floor will always be beneath that point. Because if it's no, it means I'm looking into a hill in front of me. Okay? Now on a globe, and you'll see this in the depictions, when we talk about levelled on a globe, you'll always see this. You'll have somebody standing here, and they will represent your field of view as you looking like that. That's not levelled. That's not you looking straight out. That's looking down the way. Right? So you ask them this question: why does the floor rise up into the centre of my field of view if it's sloping downwards like this? They'll just avoid. Right? So let's grant them something. So we're on a globe. Wee guy looking out. They're going to say, oh, your visible horizon is 3 point whatever miles away, and that's it, right? So that means that 3 point whatever miles, that's now been obscured. Anything beyond that point, you can't see it because of the Earth's curve. Right? Now, as I elevate up to here, what's happening? That's right, there's an ever increasing angle between me and the floor, and it must remain fixed because it's not a morphing testicle. It's not a ghost testicle where it can morph in and out of form. and expand and contract whenever it feels like it. It's got to be a fixed geometric shape, volume, circumference, all that stuffsies. So, if I'm looking at my apparent horizon, which is in their model, it's where the sky meets the ground of the earth as the earth curves away from you, as you elevate up, the angle must increase exponentially. So if I'm at fucking ground level and at 3 miles my horizon's there and I go to 30,000 feet, it's not going to be 0.2 of a degree below the horizontal central axis of my viewing field of view. It's going to be a lot fucking more than that. So, let's have a wee look now at some of the fuckery. Oh, thanks very much.
Are you alive?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. Do you want me to shut the doors?
No. Keep it's too warm with that. Shut. So, hopefully that's cleared it all up for you. So when you hear this statement, the horizon's always at eye level, what you have to understand is you're above the plane, and the ground will always be beneath the horizontal central axis, whether that be in your eye field of view or any instrument you're using, theodolites, cameras, aircrafts, whatever. Here we go in the chat box. I'm just going to assume that the majority of you sane people grasp this and understand it. It's only heliocentric cult zealots that try and utilise these things to somehow prove their fantasy. Right? So it's important that people understand this. The floor will never be on the horizontal central axis, ever. If it is, you're tilted down looking at the ground, or there's a hill in front of you like that. It's funny how they're no here. So, and this other chappie is in my comment section going about sextants. A sextant is a planar instrument. Okay? It does not, and this overweight aviator suggests or states that it measures celestial objects. Again, total lack of understanding. A sextant does not measure celestial visible lights in the sky. It measures angles between whatever visible phenomena in the sky you have selected. It measures the angle between it and the horizon. You, it and the horizon. It's a triangle. Triangles applied to curved surfaces do not add up to 180 degrees. Okay? What you do is in your sextant, when you've got it levelled, you identify your body, we'll say the moon. Then you bring that down through the mirrors that are inside the sextant, you bring it down until it's just about touching your horizon, the horizontal plane of the earth. You bring it down, and that will give you the reading of what the angle is to that thing. It doesn't measure celestial bodies. I'm just going to keep making these videos the longer these creepy cretins keep trying to misinform people. They're barefaced liars. They're barefaced liars, or they're utterly helpless and stupid. I'll leave you to decide. So, let me have a wee look here. So, and by the way, I thumbs these things up deliberately, right? Because that's the games that they play, and I suggest you do the same, because their whole game is to give some pretense, some illusion that they've got the authority and they've got consensus and people behind them. It's just them and their sock accounts. Right, so we can all play their games. So I encourage you to play the same games as these fucking cretins, because they understand that it does have an effect on the gullible. And if you're trying to affect those people, then you need to use the same tools. So as you can see here, I've quoted him. This was his statement. Celestial bodies, that's really embarrassing. Made me laugh, blah, blah, blah. Let's play this. So as you can see here, I'm typing, and this was the second time that I had put comments in my own comment section. And you can see I've clicked it to post it. And there you can see it's gone. So, who's really in control of your channel? Huh? YouTube favouring these wee gimpy cretins. So say, I'm not really a tech guy, I don't really understand it. But in my mind it's creepy dishonesty. So we have to be really aware of this stuff and what's actually going on. See, I'm being ghosted left, right and centre. I was in Ali B's last night and it looks as if I've been ghosted in his live chat as well, and I've noticed it in loads of other chats. I'm going to comment sections, my comments are being ghosted out, and my own comment sections, they're being taken away. So who has the power to do that? I think they're baiting and trolling. Here's the thing, YouTube, this whole psychology and how they try and reverse everything. Remember, they come and they dance for us. When we decide we're going to put a video up or we're going to comment or we're going to go live, they came running to us. They are reacting to us continually. It's been the same for over 5 years now. I appear, I make my presence known, wallop. Onslaught of cult zealots, lunatics, and it's never changed. We troll them. We are trolling their idiotic, childlike, cult, lunatic, religious hogwash. And they have to dance and defend and react. So make sure you get it right. They dance for us. And lo and behold, they're nowhere to be seen. And the same again in that comment section, the Wolfie 6020 guys there. What was his comment? Nice one. They can't get around these observations, they just ignore them. Interesting that we can see slight curve in the horizon. Can you, Wolfie? You can see stuffs. Scientifical. Well, Wolfie son, you're just perpetuating utter stupidity. I'd love to see you, stating that you expect to see the floor touching the horizontal central axis of your viewing device. You'd have to be seriously fucking spazzed in your own mind Do you believe that, poppycock, son? Who have we got in here? What's this? What's Riley's thesis, Mark? What's he all about? I'm just going to remove you, you clown. I say, seeing this from now on, and the way that this YouTube stuff's operating, I'm just going to remove every single one of these creeps. If they want to say something, they can come and say it direct. I'm not getting a free run in my comment section. Fuck you. You cannot play games. And the reason they have to play these games is because it's a lie and they're dishonest and they're terrified. Well, that's what happens, you want to tell fucking lies. Right, wait a minute. What else do I have to say? A few things I was going to talk about, but I'll maybe leave that to tomorrow. Because, you know, it's not just the aspects of where we are that are being attacked and suppressed. You know, I've been looking a lot over the years at, like, you know, the whole evolution story, and how people in academia and people who are, you know, in these lines of work that are being suppressed and taken out of their positions because they're standing up against the bullshit. So, you know, it's happening everywhere. There's a real stranglehold on our, you know, an existential narrative, stories of our existence that is being perpetuated, and anybody who tries to, you know, dismantle it or highlight the bollocks within it are being omitted. So it's not just in regards to the earth, it's, you know, the storyline of us and what we're a part of here, which obviously ties in, because it's a whole psychological, you know, trick that's being played out here, and they have to invoke these because it does, you know, have a detriment to your psychology, your and your emotional state, and also it removes again the foundations, the grounds for you to build an understanding of, you know, what you think you're a part of here. So I want to speak a wee bit about that, you know, talk a wee bit about, you know, what it actually means, this evolution. You know, there's a lot of challenges to it, and for those who, you know, fancy themselves as academics and, you know, have a bit of pomposity and think that it means something if an academic says so. There's loads of academics out there who are asking questions. There's loads of challenges to the neo-Darwinian concept of evolution, you know, a lot in particular today with mutations and what a mutation actually is and yada yada. But I mean, it always comes back to the same thing. We're dealing with information. Now, as human beings, we only understand information to emanate from a mind. So, as I say, you can see the obvious push in that regard to admit, and this is the problem, you know, I'm beginning to wonder if there's a deliberate push to try and suppress, you know, intelligent design because fear of, you know, religious bias setting in. Now, please understand, I am no religious affiliated. I do not have any religious bias whatsoever. This is why I say, you know, it's easy for me to come to an understanding that there's intelligence behind this, whatever this is, this thing that we call life. That's as far as it goes, right? It's because people start bringing in, rules and regulations and yada yada about what this creation is, what it was purpose was for, what our role is within it, and it's a complex mess of subjectivity being cast out over the whole and asserted that everybody should live by these rules and blah blah. I don't subscribe to any of that, but you cannot escape from the fact that intelligence is involved in this. But that's as far as I can take it. But again, as I highlighted before, the problem comes when people start getting into purpose, and things that transcend us and what the motives are and yada yada yada. And again, it's in science as well. We've got existential narratives and storylines running in science, where they're waffling on about causation and what the universe is and blah blah. Again, we're always within the effects of this. This is done deliberately, right? Because if they can get you in imagination land, trying to uncover the cause of all, they know you're never going to get there. But what they can do is they can elect high priests that can push their spin, right, or what it's all about. And if they can assert it with authority, they can get the majority to believe in it. The only thing we can do is creatively play with the effects. We can continually explore the place and play with the effects. Oh, there's this thing. What happens when I do this with this thing? Oh, look at that effect. Oh, we could use that, blah, blah, blah. They're involved in quantum bullshit, trying to get to the root, the fundamental layers of what gives rise to reality, and they're never going to get there because they're within it. But they continually keep pursuing these avenues and pushing out these storylines. Again, to hamper progress, and the progress is creative play. Through creative play, we gain an understanding. Creative play takes us further in our progress, our exploration, where we can find the outer reaches or what's beyond the confined areas that they have laid out for us. So they try and keep you still by imagining that they're zooming in on stuff and there's quarky fucking stuffs and wee planetoids spinning round, and it's just all gibberish. It's all cartoons. I don't need language in order to understand effect. Other language, or mathematics, all these descriptors, blah blah blah, they are secondary to reality. Anyhow, nice one, Elisa. I say the whole thing's really breaking down for them now. As I said before, my concerns are that a lot of social engineering aspects where they have a desired outcome of civil unrest, and that's what seems to be playing out. Well, I can see a lot of people really questioning what's actually going on here, and a lot of the tools that they've had over us are starting to crumble. As I say, this is what happens, when things move from the subliminal into the conscious, when people start taking responsibility and start understanding things, that these tools can no longer be used on you. And the longer that we keep speaking to each other and sharing, valid information with each other, true information, and keep that up, then these subtle powers that they have, these subtle influences that they have over us, they're just going to disappear in the wind very, very quickly. The more desperate they get, the quicker they have to act, and the quicker they have to act, the more obvious they become. So anyhow, we understand now, when we hear the term the horizon rises to eye level, you need to have an understanding of what you're talking about there. The floor will never sit on the horizontal central axis. It'll always be below it because you're above it. You're no merged into the floor, where the floor intersects the centre of your eye. You're always above it. Anyway, I think I'll leave it at that, and I'll see you tomorrow evening. Remember, send me an email if you want to join me, have a chat about whatever. Take it easy, people.